But yeah, that's a good idea for sure.
Yeah,
Totally.
I think that would be just because I feel like none of us want to pick like a super basic
Yeah, like saying
album.
like picking Dark Side of the Moon or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
but I still want to talk about it.
Right, exactly.
So I feel like instead of like foregoing one of our weeks where we get to choose and one of us sacrificing something that we might have that's interesting.
Because I want to be able to put you guys onto shit. Like that's kind of like in a way that's and whoever's listening, if anyone is out there. Hello. This is the Cosatomicast. Welcome.
What the fuck is up? We're doing a cold open.
How do I pronounce that? Cosatomicast or Cosatomicast?
Cosatomicast.
Okay, Cosatomicast. Okay.
Like Comcast. Cosatomicast.
Is that the name? Are we going with that?
I'm cool with that.
Are we rolling with
I
that?
like it.
I still have an idea for, because we were talking about simulation radio too, but I want to use that as like an EP.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because I was talking to Jesse about this. I have a song that Jesse played guitar on and Jake played drums on that I think would be a killer opener for that album, and I wanna come in with like a radio voice and just talk about it's sunny 87 degrees and then it kind of
reminds
builds
me of
up.
that one Havoc song. I forget what it's called. Da 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 da. Fuck! Now I'm forgetting. I'm on the spot. I'm forgetting but go on.
But anyway, the only lyrics right now on that song are through TalkBox, and it just says target identified, and then it kind of rips into a guitar solo after that. But if I'm building up and talking and it's building, and then I'm like all this and more on simulation radio, and then it goes into a solo.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
I think that'd be fun.
Yeah.
And then
kind of do like a newscast kind of little ditty beforehand. Almost.
Yeah, I don't know, something like that. And then I was thinking, because on Pink Floyd's Adam Hart Mother, they all wrote their own song for that album, and I was thinking we kind of do the same thing since it's like radio themed, where we all kind of write a different song in whatever style we want.
Might be cool.
And kind of coach everybody else on it, but
yeah,
that'd be a fun idea.
Yeah, that what song is that? Good evening, I'm Lyle Watt. And today we cover trivial stories to distract you from what's really going on in the world. It's 5 o'clock and here's what we want you to think. This shit is fucking so sick, dude.
That's funny. Anyways,
I forget what fucking song that is.
It's something like that. Welcome to the podcast. Unfortunately, we are not joined by Jake tonight. He had his dick enlargement surgery today.
It didn't go well.
It did not.
He doesn't have a dick
smaller
anymore.
than it was before.
It's gone.
The doctor blew his dick off.
Yep.
Oh,
Hey.
damn, that's... Pause. The doctor blew his dick off.
Oh, yeah. The doctor blew his dick
Pause.
off.
There's a hyphen right there.
Yeah.
That doesn't make it any better. Still, you can still interpret it the same
They were
way.
trying. They were trying to do the enlargement surgery, but they couldn't find it. They couldn't find it. They kind of gave up after a little while.
Nice. But yeah, good old Jaker is in Alaska. Well, he's flying back from Alaska way right now.
It's a lot cheaper to get the surgery up there.
Honestly.
Yeah.
They don't charge as much.
Yeah.
All right, Leaf, you have the album of the week this week. Do you want to introduce it?
Alrighty.
You want to pop it off?
Album of the week was Acid Bath, When the Kite String Pops.
Nice.
From fucking like 1991 or some shit.
94?
94?
Very ahead of its
Yeah,
time. this album.
1994. Very, very pioneer.
You wanna
sure.
fill us in on the album? Why'd you pick it? What does it mean to you?
So I just picked this album because as far as like fucking old school death metal goes, like I just feel like this shit is so raw. Like, and it's right before the point where it's like technically overbearing.
Right.
It still is like just about groove, and the fucking each instrument is like fucking each musician in the band is just insane, bro. Like the vocalist going back and forth from his fucking screaming to his like moaning sings, like he's just so fucking talented.
Yeah.
The guitar works fucking crazy. I also love the drums on this album. The drums are like the main thing I find myself paying attention to through most of the songs. The drums are fucking crazy, and I just love how like it just sounds like they just plugged in and that was it. And they're just fucking going. Like,
especially the drums.
Extra shit going on.
Yeah, the drums. I mean, the kick is definitely real, like processed, kind of like classic, like not super clicky, but like you can definitely tell there's some EQ on it. But like the rest of the kit is like dry as fuck.
Yeah.
Like there's almost no like room sound and shit going on, and like I don't know. It's an interesting drum sound for
Yeah.
sure. The snare in certain spots will give a little bit of a tail, but it's like mainly like real dry and like compact. There's not a lot of tail to it, which
yeah,
is
it's fucking
cool.
sick.
But like, yeah, I noticed like every, like you said, every instrument and every player in the band has their own kind of thing going on. Like the bass tone.
Yeah, the bass is
The bass
Oh
that bass
my
tone is
God.
fucking
sick.
gnarly.
So
Yeah.
dope, dude. So dope.
It felt like you can tell there's a lot of like Black Sabbath inspiration
Yes.
in their
Yeah.
shit. That's like the first thing that popped
Definitely.
off to me. And a lot of like, because I don't, when was Alice in Chains like, when did their first, like their popular album come
I
out?
think fucking let me
Must have
look.
been around the same time.
I
It's-
think
it
like
sounds-
88 or something like
Really?
that.
Okay. Because it
Just
it sounds like there's a
before
lot of,
90.
there's a lot of Alice in Chains like kind of vibes to it.
1990.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, shit.
facelift. But yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, to me, I hear can definitely hear some Slipknot in there. I can see where they got a lot of their like kind of sample usage. I don't know what the timeline is as far as that goes. Slipknot might have already been writing songs and playing then, but if they knew about Acid Bath, you can kind of hear the influence there for
Yeah.
sure. And yeah, it's like it reminds me the vocalist reminds me a lot of Phil Anselmo actually.
Yeah, he's fucking crazy, dude.
With the
Dexter
cleans
Riggs,
and the
I think his name is, or some shit.
nice. But yeah, and then like it almost yeah, like you said, Kent, very Doom.
Yeah,
Inspired,
super
for
doom like
sure.
sludge metal on a lot of the tracks, and I kind of enjoy how they kind of flip flop on a lot of
Yeah.
like doom straight into like thrash
Yeah, totally.
and shit, and it was an enjoyable listen. I enjoyed a lot of
Very
it.
Hell yeah.
diverse album. I was not expecting that at all. I thought it was
I
going to
didn't
be
either.
like just heavy all the time.
Well, and
No.
that's the thing. This Scream of the Butterfly,
Yeah.
That song's fucking
And-
so good.
Great song.
the Bones of Baby Dolls.
Yeah,
I
shit's
fucking
also so good.
loved that song.
Yeah, both of those are highlights for me for sure. Definitely didn't like feel like they were shoehorned in to like get a clean, slower song in there at all. They felt very at home.
Yeah.
It felt like that's what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Totally.
Bones of Baby Dolls, the entire time I was listening to it, I was imagining like some kind of like dramatic third act of a movie where like a pivotal character is dying. And
Interesting.
the enemy's like kind of walking away, and I don't know. That's just what came to mind when I heard it. But
They got some good imagery going with their lyrics. They say some crazy ass
Jezebel.
shit. Yeah,
The lyrics on
Yeah.
Jezebel.
Jezebel is
That was-
so bad.
I think that was the only song that like the lyrics kind of took me off guard and like right away, and I was like, oh, this is some fucked up shit.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
I really liked the riffing on fucking Dr. Seuss.
Yeah, Dr. Seuss is dead.
Yeah, bro. What did you think about this album, Jerry? Because I know us three are definitely more the metal guys. I'm curious to kind of hear what you think.
I thought it was very groove based. The mix was a little too raw for me.
Interesting.
Personally, like I get the I get the grasp on why it's so good for the raw wise, just but just personally for me, just like the sound of like just them all plugging in and just going, like I'm very divisive on that type
Same.
of mix. Like sometimes it like hits really well for me, sometimes it doesn't, and I can't describe on why sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. I thought it was a brilliant album. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. The slower song, I can't remember. It's like finger painting.
Figure paintings of the insane.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
That one.
I liked that one. Yeah.
That one spoke to my soul,
That one's
man.
fucking
Yeah.
sick.
That one spoke to my soul. I absolutely loved that song.
Hell
I
yeah.
wrote in
Song-
my notes that like just it felt it had such an epic scale to it. Like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
scale of the song felt so like epic.
Let me finger
And-
paintings. Let me hear this real quick. I just want to give some context for myself here. Okay, yeah. Yeah, and like I like kind of to what you were saying, Jerry. There's for the most part the production doesn't bother me, but there is definitely some parts, not necessarily this song. I think the split in the guitar parts works well. For like where there's rhythm going on and then there's like kind of a drony like wah thing going on, like one or two notes. I think that works pretty well, but like there's certain parts where like I wish they would have maybe used two different guitar tones or something like that when they were like when there's more than one guitar part going on, when there's like, you know, like rhythms panned and then guitar in the middle. It seems like they literally just used exactly the same tone.
It seems like they hard panned a lot of the shit too.
Yeah, well, hard panning is fine, but I'm saying like when there's usually the parts that are hard panned are the same, and then the one in the middle is like different.
And that's what I'm saying. Like it seemed like because I noticed quite a bit there was two completely parts in each ear.
Right.
Which I like. I enjoy that.
There's a couple parts, but what I mean is like during the clean stuff and like a couple times when there's like I don't know, I feel like my one critique as far as the production goes is like there's some parts, because at the end of the day, all I really care about when it comes to production is can I fucking tell what's going on. Other than that, I feel like there's something to be said about leaning into the quality of your recording and kind of running with it and not because nowadays especially it's like, fuck, dude, there's 500 plugins, you know, everything is cheap, an interface is $200, you know, and it's like there's so many options out there for you to use that sometimes it's, and I've personally, you know, experienced this a shit ton. It's like there's so many options I just fucking don't know how to make a decision, dude. And I don't know. I like the fact that they're leaning into the quality of the instrument and not really overproducing something and making it fit and making it be correct. But yeah, there's definitely some parts where I wish like the center guitar was like, you know, had a little bit more mids or something like that, just so I could differentiate the parts. Yeah. But as far as production stuff, like that was really my only like
I really like the raw tone, and you can tell like a lot of points where like the vocals are peaking.
Right. Yeah,
and it adds to it. Like,
I feel like it makes the whole thing just feel very punk at the same time. Like
yes.
it's still it's a very punk record as well.
What it could have been, because like all these albums I listen to when I'm riding home from work,
right?
And like a lot of the time I'm riding next to like traffic,
right? That white noise.
So it's like what it could be is that like since it was like not like a huge, you know, big layered mix, it could have been like, since there was so much room for outside noise to kind of fill in the pages while I'm listening to it through the headphones, like it could have been that too. Like it's like I wasn't listening to it like in my room or in my car where there's like a nice system. It was just literally like me riding my bike, you know, being like, hey, I'm gonna listen to this, you know, because that's what you do when you ride your bike. Yeah. And so like that could have been that too.
I think so the guitars are really
loud.
They're loud, and there's not
more guitars than anything.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of mid range in those guitars at all. So it's very like HM2 kind of.
Yeah.
The entire time, so I can see in that context where like
there's a lot of noise. In that album.
And you're getting white noise from the outside, and there's already not enough real mids to like for the guitar to poke out a lot. But that's why I liked the bass tone so much, is because and you can really tell when it's only guitars and there's no bass. The guitars are very just pink noise. But once the bass goes in, it gives like all that like tonal context in like mid range. It's kind of like Master of Puppets.
Yeah.
Where the bass is kind of filling in a lot of the mid range, giving context to these fucking really gnarly guitars.
Yeah.
That bass tone is fucking awesome.
That bass tone,
it is so fucking badass.
Super sick. Definitely helps out the mix a shit ton with the guitar tone.
I listened to it today while playing Zombies.
Really?
Like Call of Duty Zombies.
That's
and I feel like that's a very appropriate setting to listen to that album.
Totally.
There was a Clockwork Orange reference in Cassie Eats Cockroaches at the very beginning. There was the At the beginning when there's the clip of the guy saying, "Oh, give her the old in out."
Oh,
I didn't even think
yo.
about that.
Yeah,
That's fucking awesome.
I heard that and I was like, "Oh, it's Clockwork Orange."
That's a good
It's fucking
catch,
dope.
dude.
That's sick.
Yeah.
I really enjoy the name of the album when the kite string drops. That's just a cool name.
Yeah.
Like when
When
I
it pops.
Yeah. Oh, is it Pops?
Yeah, when the kite string pops.
Like that is such a cool name. Like when I was like loading up Spotify on my way home, I was like, "Fuck, I'm gonna have to check the chat for the name of the album again." And then it popped up, and I was like, "Oh, that's because I just remember that it had a really like eclectic name."
Yeah.
Then I saw it, and I was like, "Oh, okay, that's it, right there." It's a. I like it when albums have those really interesting names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when the kite string pops, something like Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah, it just
something like
pops
that.
out at you. It's not a generic, you know.
where it's something like as much as I love A7X, like Waking the Fallen isn't the most
Right.
big brain name. It's just
Neither is Avenged Sevenfold, to be honest.
Yeah, literally. But I mean, like
I love that name,
Yeah.
and I think you guys have talked shit on it before.
It's
not
very,
necessarily full shit.
it's
but
very, I describe it's kind of gives me the same vibe as like Schecter guitars.
They
like,
were
think
17-year-old's first.
They were 17
metal
when they named the
name.
band, and you could tell that it was named when
but
they
it's
were
it's
17.
it's a biblical reference.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in like in and of itself, it's cool. Outside of that era of music, in the context of like all the fucking 3-name bands,
Yeah,
Bullet
Yeah.
for My Valentine. We love Bullet. Don't get me wrong.
yeah.
But like bands like that. Fucking what's another one?
Silence is Madness.
Like Pierce the Veil.
Shit.
Silences. Yeah.
Shit.
But yeah. Like those. I don't know. There's a reason we changed our name.
I mean,
Yeah.
but like those mall bands are
Yeah.
a great example. Hawthorne Heights.
Yes.
Sirens,
Yeah, that's what I was
Bring
looking
Me
for.
the
Yeah,
Horizon.
Sleeping with Sirens. Yeah.
I fucking
Panic
love
at
them.
the Disco, like they're great bands, fantastic bands, fantastic.
Panic at the
musicians.
Disco. I like the name. It is kind of stupid.
I mean, but it's just like
yeah.
it's that teenage angst,
Yeah.
just mallcore,
Yeah.
scene kid, emo kid, MySpace, that.
Yeah, for sure. You hear it when you're 17. You're like, oh, that's
Yeah,
sick.
and that's
Yeah.
like sick. And then now you're 40 years old, and you're like, but it's still great, Still love the bands, love the songs, love the
Yeah.
names,
I love it when there was colors in band names,
Yeah,
like Pink Floyd, Green Day,
Yeah, right.
Purple.
Deep Purple. Yeah.
Yeah,
Black Sabbath.
Black Sabbath. Like you put a color and then a noun. And that's a sick ass band name.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a sick
For
name.
real.
absolutely.
Fucking Silver Talon, dude.
Yeah.
Silver Talon, that's
that
a
band
great
kicks
band.
ass. Shout
I
out
love that
fucking
band.
Bryce Van Hoosen. If you're listening to this, you're the man.
That's a great band. I love
He's
that
not
band.
listening.
He's definitely
not
not listening at all.
So who was?
Yeah.
What was everyone's highlight track of the album, and why?
I really liked the finger painting one. The
Fuck
finger
yes.
that song, like they were all great. What was it? Tranquilized was that one?
Tranquilized.
Tranquilized was really good. I
yeah.
really liked that one. Jezebel was really cool. I liked how. What was the song before Jezebel?
Finger painting of the insane.
Yeah.
Was it?
I
Okay.
think so.
Was it?
It is, yeah.
Okay, so then I'm definitely gonna fucking. I love that song. That song was really great. But I loved how there was that really fucking just crazy long ambient noise, and then the fucking riff. I think that's the one that I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
Cheap
I think-
vodka.
Yes. Yes.
Is maybe I can't remember. But the very end. then
Starts
it
with
just-
bass.
Okay. And then it just went into this crazy riff, and that was really cool. I really liked how the songs transitioned. The transitions for all the
Yeah,
songs
the
were
transitions were
fucking
cool.
brilliant.
Yeah.
What I liked about it is how every single song was individualized, and you could play each and every single song individually and still get a great experience. But they were all, but like the way that it flowed was fucking brilliant.
I didn't
loved
really
it.
clue into that at all. I wasn't really
Really?
listening
There
for
were
that too
there.
much.
I didn't notice it too many times where the transition like popped out at me, but there were a couple songs that transitioned like pretty smoothly.
Yeah,
I was like,
and
oh,
I-
that's neat.
I
and
was
it's-
listening to while I was driving, so it's like I
Really?
couldn't really tell when the songs were switching. Maybe
That's
that's,
fair.
why.
And like
Yeah.
there were times where like it would transition, and I'm like, is this the same song?
Right,
And
yeah.
then it was a different song, and I was like, okay, I didn't think that was the same song, because tonally, like all the songs like within themselves had their own kind of sound,
Right.
and then they transitioned really well into another song, but like it could have still worked as one transition into one song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it was just just like the classic Punishment do and the Holy Wars riff. You know, it's just like, you know, they work well as one song, but they could also be two songs, and that's what I really liked about this album was the transitions.
Totally.
That's what stood out to me the most about the album was the transitions in between every single song. Specifically, I thought that was a really brilliant way to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's almost Tool-esque with how they approached
very,
it. Shit's
yeah.
so sick.
Very, very brilliant.
Jake, what was your favorite track on the album? I agree.
Excellent.
We have a surrogate Jake here today. He'll just be popping in, providing some commentary every once in a while.
What was your favorite, Kent?
Jezebel, I really enjoyed. I really liked Jezebel. Tranquilize, I think, was probably the most like accessible song on the album, and I thought it was
Right.
yeah, I thought it was just a cool ass song. God Machine, I thought was really cool.
God Machine is badass.
Yeah. Yeah, Finger Painting the Insane was just such a like awesome track.
Yeah, dude. I loved, like Jesse said, just that slow fucking sludge, dude.
Yeah.
Super sick. I
And-
personally really like Jezebel. I think that was probably my favorite.
Jezebel was sick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I
Jezebel.
think that's kind of, if I'm not mistaken, that's kind of the, I guess Scream of the Butterfly, as far as Apple Music goes, is their number one song.
That
But-
and Cheap Vodka.
Interesting. I would have thought Jezebel would be their number one song, personally.
Yeah.
That just, it gave me the vibe of like lead single
Yeah, I
for
feel
some
that.
reason.
Jezebel was my favorite until, honestly, before I suggested this, I never listened to the back half of the album.
Really, bro?
Yeah, so I really like Jezebel, Cheap Vodka. Pretty much all the songs off the first half I thought were fucking great, but Jezebel and Cheap Vodka were my favorite. And then second time through listening to the back half, I also really like Cassie Eat Cockroaches. That was like the only one I listened to off the back end. I fucking love the drums on that one. That one's crazy.
I thought it was kind of a weird closer.
I thought so too.
Like I thought it just like that seemed like a song that they could have put in the middle, and when it ended, I was kind of surprised that was the end of the album.
I
Yeah.
thought, I knew it was the end.
Really?
I thought it was a good ender, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice
Oh.
heavy ender. Yeah.
All right.
But where I was going with that is fucking The Mortician's Flame. Like that fucking, I love that song. I think that might be one of my, like, that might be my top one from them now. That's just like rhythm section pouring all throughout the like middle section. It's so
Let
fucking
me-
good.
Real quick, I'm sorry to interrupt, but just want some context.
It's very primacy in a sense too. It just has a bunch of those fucked up sounds, but it only uses them like once.
Yeah.
Right. I'm gonna go.
And then this,
Okay, yeah.
yeah, this song's so sick. And then the transition to the vocals right there, bro.
Yeah, dude.
That
Yeah,
song's
I like
so
I like this song a lot. That was like I really like that riff that goes up chromatically and then sinks back down into the fucking root. Dude, that was one of my favorite riffs on the entire album. At first I was like, that's weird. Please go back to the fucking root, bro. Come on. And then they fucking hit it and I was like, fuck yeah, this is sick.
I think that was the song that the vocals reminded me of System a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
It reminded me of Surge,
honestly,
like
yeah.
a hardcore reminded me of Surge.
Totally.
The Bones of Baby Dolls was definitely a highlight for me. I
one's-
fucking
Yeah.
loved that
That
song.
one's I didn't know they had another slow song other than "Scream of the Butterfly" until I heard that and I listened to it. I was like, "Holy shit!" I honestly think this is even better than.
I think
Scream of the Butterfly.
I think
Yeah.
it's the better of the two.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I agree.
personally.
Which
I-
is surprising because Scream, that's also one of that's like their top 3 tracks. The other one, Bones, is not even in their top tracks at all.
It's crazy.
That's upsetting.
But yeah, as far as like, you said you hadn't listened to the second half. I personally wasn't really a fan of the first like 4 songs up until Jezebel on. I thought was perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I don't know. I was just maybe it was just my preconception of what I thought I was gonna hear.
I feel like this is also a definitely like come a few times band because first time I heard them, I also I wasn't that interested.
Yeah.
So like I gave it a few more listens, started paying attention to more shit, and then it's very acquired taste kind of.
Yeah. Well, there's so much going on. There's so many different elements to all these songs that it's like. It's not like listening to like Death.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh, okay, I get this. I can just, I can put myself in this like soundscape, and it's like, it's what word am I looking for? Like all encompassing. you know,
Yeah.
like well, I don't know, like Echoes or something, like where all the songs are like the same color kind of thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But this one is like, yeah, there's definitely, it has a very like kind of bipolar almost like way of approaching songwriting, where they're like, here's fucking, you know, 2 doom riffs, and then they fucking hit you with like death style fucking like breakdowns and shit.
I feel like it fits the theme though, honestly, the album,
Yeah.
because it's just mentally insane.
It's just insane.
ass
Yeah.
shit.
Right.
I
Totally.
do. I love the song structure of this album and probably the rest of this band. I'll have to check out the rest of their stuff.
Yeah,
They
I
only have
haven't.
2 albums because after their second album, their bassist fucking died in a car accident.
Damn,
But-
Was it Cliff?
Fucking yeah.
you're an asshole.
But their 2 albums are fucking great, but they might make more music because they just reunited for the first time in like 21 years to play fucking Sick New World this year. It's
Oh,
gonna be their
really?
First show ever,
Oh.
like since
Oh,
the
that's
second
sick.
album.
A hard transition. Speaking
Sick New
of
World
Sick
just got
New World,
canceled. Actually,
what the fuck is that about?
What do you mean?
they just canceled.
Why?
No one knows. They didn't really give an explanation. They're just like, sorry.
How far
fucking-
away is it?
It's in
It's-
Vegas. Oh.
No. Like time
Oh,
wise.
I think it's like April or some
April?
shit, or
Okay.
May.
2025.
Yeah, it's usually been in April.
It's
the
not
past
a-
few years.
that. I guess that's an okay amount of time to cancel.
Mhm.
But like, still, what the fuck?
I just wonder because like last 2 years, the first one was fucking System and Deftones, huge bands still, but then fucking year after that, then it was System and Slipknot. Actually, no, Korn was in there. Fucking, I think they all played actually. But this year it's fucking Metallica and Linkin Park, so it's even bigger than all
Right.
the other ones. Like as far as fucking numbers go, like how is this the one that gets canceled?
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, okay, so
I don't know.
you went to both of them before.
Yeah.
It was like a fire festival situation where shit was all fucked up and like, you know, they didn't have their infrastructure right and shit, or not?
It didn't really seem like that. It was just hot as fuck.
That's
and
fair.
there's so many people and there's so many fucking just bodies right next to each other in the crowds when you're trying to watch the bands that like it just gets so fucking hot. And the
Yeah,
water
bro.
stations, I guess as far as like the structure goes, is kind of fucked up because you have to walk all the way back to the entrance far as fuck to get to any of the water tanks. But
Fuck
then again,
that.
that's also like makes sense because they let you bring in those water pack things where like you wear it and there's a fucking straw.
Oh, the camelbacks?
Yeah, definitely
Right.
bring one of those if you're fucking gone.
I've never been to a festival, and I genuinely don't want to go to one.
It's low key kind
it
of
seems like
fucking
it's
hard,
so it
bro.
seems so stressful.
Yeah.
And there's like when there's different bands or different stages with different bands, and you kind of want to see a lot of them, and they overlap. It just seems like such a stressful environment,
Oh, yeah,
and I
yeah.
just don't want to deal
So
with
I
that.
had to do a lot of pick and choosing, and then it's also like your phone doesn't fucking ever work when you're at a festival. 'Cause so many
Right,
people are
'cause
trying to use shit.
Yeah, everyone's
so, like,
pulling from the same fucking cell tower and shit.
Yeah, so like I went with fucking Kristen one year, and I was in Incubus, and then she's like, I want to go. I wanted to go see Loathe or some shit, and she wanted to sit and watch Incubus's set, but they weren't playing their new metal shit, which I thought was stupid because it's a fucking new metal festival.
Right.
But so I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna go see Loathe, and then I went to back out to go see Loathe. Fucking lost Kristen, could not call her, and then I'm like, well, like she's in that crowd of fucking 5,000 people in
Fuck.
Incubus, I'm fucked. So then I just went back in Incubus, like going to the crowd, just trying to get as close to the front as I could. I was like, fuck it. Somehow in this sea of motherfuckers, as I'm like halfway through the fucking crowd, so like a movie scene, I turn to my right, these 2 people part their heads, and I just see her looking right at me. And I'm like, thank fucking God.
That's crazy
But,
as fuck.
like, yeah, dude, and on top of it, like the first half is always great, and then the last half, you're just actually tired as fuck,
That's
and your
fair.
That's the
body,
thing, it just-
your
yeah.
feet hurt, your body feels like shit, and then so like you're just watching the headliner in misery. Loki.
I'm sure I'm sure if I was like rolling on Molly, like a lot of the people there, I'm sure I'd enjoy it a lot more. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
if
just
I
sit-
had Coke or something, but, yeah.
Yeah, you're just sitting there, your fucking toes have blisters all over them. If you moshed it all in the middle of the day, you're not moshing for the rest of the night, or you're gonna fucking pass out because your
Right.
body's already
Yeah.
so fatigued.
What was the one in Iowa a few years ago when we were still back in Omaha? That was a huge disaster, and they didn't have any water. They had like 2 security guards. They didn't have any porta
I remember
potties.
that. What was
It wasn't Fire Festival.
that? Was it the?
Well, no, the fire
fucking,
festival was in the middle of the ocean.
was it
Wait, what
the,
do you mean? Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Wait.
What was it?
Fire
The,
Festival is like just the world's most fucked festival ever that got
that
super
was
fucked.
That was the one where the guy conned everybody into buying a bunch of tickets and like passes and staying in this like luxury resort he advertised. And when they got there, they had like a bunch of FEMA tents and no food.
Oh, what the fuck? Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
And
like,
they compensated by like giving everybody free tequila, but they didn't have any water, so that just exacerbated
oh my
the entire
god, dude!
situation.
It's fucking Woodstock '99 all
Yeah,
over again.
that dude got in serious trouble for that.
Oh,
Like,
as he should. bro.
I think he's in jail right now.
Oh my god.
For sure.
Rightfully so.
Yeah. What were you saying, Jesse?
I can't remember, but it was like a.
Was it
was
corn?
like no, it was like a hip hop festival, wasn't it?
No,
No,
because I think it might have been Slipknot.
was it? Was it Knotfest? It
Knotfest,
wasn't Knotfest.
maybe.
Knotfest has been super regulated since like the 90s.
I don't think so. I think it was. I want to say it was Slipknot, but I
Really?
might just be associating that with Iowa
Yeah.
and
Right.
thinking.
Can't
But it was
remember.
a new metal band that was playing, and I can't remember.
Really?
Yeah,
It was probably Slipknot if it was in Iowa. But yeah,
think
I
it
don't
was. remember
remember either.
but don't quote me on that.
But yeah, as far as like festivals go, like fuck, I mean, Jake and I played Rocklahoma with 10 Cent Revenge, and I guess that was kind of a different experience because we had backstage access and we could flag down a fucking golf cart if we needed to go anywhere, and we got free drinks and shit like that. So it's like obviously you're chilling in that
that's hype as
situation.
fuck.
Meeting people backstage and shit, but like I don't know. I thought it was super fun, but yeah, I can see how like if you're camping on the festival grounds, dude, fuck, bro. That would be that would suck. Like we were in an Airbnb and shit, so we were chilling, but like yeah, if you're camping on the festival grounds and like trying to fucking that would be
I've
Like I
never
said, unless you have
camped.
drugs, it's not worth it. I can't imagine.
Okay, so here this brings me to a whole fucking discussion about people who take psychedelics in fucking in the context of a festival, dude. That is the most insane thing that you could possibly do. Dude.
I agree,
So irresponsible,
bro.
bro. So irresponsible and so disrespectful to the substance, dude. Why would you do this?
Well, it just seems like a real sketchy thing
Maybe
to do.
Molly, but nowadays it's like, how can you even find good shit with
Yeah.
that? You have to fucking test it and then you waste some of it, and it's like, but yeah, dude, I don't know, bro. I can't imagine being on fucking 2 grams around fucking 5,000 people, let alone, like dropping a couple tabs of acid or
No,
like.
it seems like a horrible environment.
Fuck that, dude.
seems
That
like
is
a
the worst.
Awful environment to do that.
Yeah.
And there are so many horror stories I've heard of people freaking it the
Yeah.
fuck out at festivals and shows.
Worst
and
possible setting you could do it in, dude.
Yeah.
That is. You are asking to get fucking slapped in the face by reality in that situation,
the only
bro.
ecstasy or something is like the only
Yeah.
drug I can think of that would be beneficial.
100%.
Because then you're just happy. You're
Well,
just pumped to be there.
I mean, Swim, someone who isn't me, my buddy Swim, when we were in Rocklahoma, he took a gram of shrooms, and it was not fun. It wasn't fun at all.
No.
I was like, kind of like, there was a whole debacle with our tickets and shit, so that didn't help. But I was, or Swim, I should say, someone who isn't me.
We don't condone the use of drugs.
Yeah, we
None
don't
of us
condone the
have
use
ever,
of psychedelics, and
none of us have ever done drugs.
only my buddy Swim has ever done psychedelics, not me.
and that was in Minecraft. He was doing the drugs in Minecraft.
But yeah, my buddy Swim, he was not having a good time, and it was only a gram, so I can only imagine more than that, dude. Fucking
Yeah.
hell, dude.
No.
That's tough, bro.
Yeah.
Fuck.
But yeah. Jake, do you have anything to say? Anything you'd like to chime in with at all?
Excellent.
Thank you. So cool.
So
It's a
yeah,
bad bit.
the album this week, When the Kite String Pops,
Yes.
By Acid
by
Bath.
Acid Bath. Kent, what's you're up for next week?
Um,
What do we got?
we're gonna go with Twerp's Digital Nightmare.
Digital Nightmare.
Digital
Good
Nightmare
choice. Good choice.
It's a good,
by Twerp.
it's a good
It's
album
a-
name. I like that.
It's a
Is that you played that in the car a couple times? What's the song that
Firewall.
Oh, I like that song.
Yeah. Okay, fuck yeah.
That's great.
That whole
Yeah,
album,
that song's sick.
yeah, it's really. We'll talk about it more next week. But
Nice.
I love
dude.
their entire thing. I love their whole. And this album does a really good job of kind of blending the universe that they have with them as a band, and it's
So what do you mean and I don't if you don't want to get into it right now, but maybe we can give a little preamble
Yeah, we
or
can
context
talk
as
about
far
it.
as what do you mean by the universe?
First of all, just throughout their albums, they've kind of built up a pretend, a universe that they exist in. And with last time we saw them, they kind of intercut a lot of the songs with this corporation. I can't remember the name of it. It's from one of their songs, but this corporation that is forcing them to do the concert.
What the fuck?
And Dr. Sung, the front man, nobody knows who they are. Nobody knows their names or their faces.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's
yeah,
pretty sick.
it's really cool. Dr. Sung, though, like at one point he quits the band and becomes his own project, and he goes up there and does one song by himself, and then he brings everybody else out. He's like, you know what, the band's reunited, and it's a whole act. But
That's
it's
pretty
fun
cool.
because this album, they kind of, a lot of the lyrics are kind of metaphors of being a machine and also the human emotion that goes into it.
Interesting.
Like one of the songs talks about how I need a human's touch, but you don't need me. I'm just a toy to play with and then throw away. Obviously talking about his feelings, but a lot of the lyrics in the song are hinting at it, talking about like a iPhone that you
Interesting.
get rid with and stuff.
Huh.
So it's a good album.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. All right, next week, Digital Nightmare by Twerp.
Fuck yeah.
Oh yeah.
Do we
That's
have
really
anything else to
got-
cover? It's kind of tough
I got
without
one.
Jake here, dude.
I got one. Speaking of festivals, all right. So if you could go and put together a show with four bands at any time in history, at any point in their career.
This is too tough to ask me on the spot. bro.
I'll start.
You'll
So
figure it
in
out.
no particular order, I would do Primus, Korn, System of a Down, and Rage.
That's fucking so solid.
At like any point, at like let's say the height in their
Damn,
career.
bro,
So
what the
let's say
fuck?
like Rage,
It's too
right
hard.
between their self-titled and Evil Empire. System. During the toxicity hype. Primus. I don't know when exactly Primus's prime was, but
That was like 19. They started in the 80s, actually. They were
Really?
in 88, but then they released their debut album, like, other than their just pre-debut LP in, like, 1990, but they had their first shit dropped, I think, like, 89.
really. So
Yeah.
Primus in '89. And then fucking Korn. Probably during like Follow the Leader.
Mm-hmm.
Right around that era. Like I feel like for me, those four bands would be like my ultimate, just like show to just absolutely lose my fucking mind to.
Yeah, that would be fucking so sick.
I think
Four bands at any time in history.
I think Animals era Pink Floyd.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm conflicted when it comes to Pink Floyd of whether to do like the later kind of theatrical stuff or the earlier
Right.
like jam psychedelic. Not the Sid Barrett era, but
Obviously.
yeah. People I hate, it's a hot take, I know, but I hate how hard people ride Sid Barrett era Pink Floyd.
I mean,
I know.
it's like I understand
I
that
get it.
they wouldn't be where they got to without the influence of Sid Barrett for sure. But at the same time,
Dude was cuckoo, and the songs reflect that. And I like some of Sid Barrett's like solo work, but
it's not the greatest stuff. dude.
no, it's
Piper at
fine.
the Gates of Dawn is mediocre.
The
dude.
okay, you know what Pink Floyd albums
like Set Your Controls for the Heart of the Sun is sick. Like there's a couple of good ones on there.
That's not even Piper at the Gates of Dawn.
Oh really?
That's
Saucer
Full of Secrets. Yeah. No, you know what? 4 Pink Floyd albums Apple Music has as like the essential albums. They got Dark Side,
Right.
naturally. Wish You Were Here, The Wall, and Piper at the Gates of Dawn.
Interesting.
Well, I would substitute Piper for Echoes for sure, or Metal. I
Metal,
mean.
yeah. No
But,
animals?
Nah. I mean, Animals is cool, but Metal is better.
Really?
Yeah, for sure. Metal is better.
I like metal a lot, but I think Animals is such just. so
Echoes
much
is
of a-
just the best Pink Floyd song there is.
That's
in
true,
my
but you also
opinion.
have fucking Seamus on metal.
Yeah, but Shame is this thing. Rough, dude.
Jake would have a heart attack if
I
he were
fucking
here.
love that song, dude.
Jake, do you want to chime in and let?
That was so funny and politically correct, Jeff. Please say it again.
Did you pick that one at random?
That was random. That was random.
That was so
Wait.
good.
What was the soundbite again? Please play it again, dude. I need please play it again.
That was so funny and politically correct.
He said,
So funny and politically correct, Jeff. Please.
Damn, dude, I can't believe he would ever think that I would say anything that wasn't politically
No.
correct, dude. That is, see, someone who isn't me in my guy swim. I mean, maybe,
Saying
but
that Animals is not a
me,
saying that
Never.
Animals is not a top 4 Pink Floyd album is a very bigoted take.
saying. I mean, I would agree.
I
mean, I'm
don't
not-
like animals, dude. Okay, I'm
You against PETA?
human power, dude.
I'm not like the biggest like Pink Floyd guy, but I would say that if I had to pick my 4 favorite Pink Floyd albums, it would definitely be those 4. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, they're the big 4. Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Okay.
Like, that's
Anyway, back to the topic at hand.
What were we talking about?
There's 4 bands
that's
anytime.
right.
Four bands
That's right.
anytime in the.
Probably
See, this
Animals.
is why we need to do the classic albums, dude.
I
Because
know.
we can sit here and talk about fucking Pink Floyd for 2 hours.
We really do need. We should. When we figure out the schedule, I'm probably going to do 2 more of these podcasts, and then we can start rolling it out.
Oh, yeah.
Just so we have a bit of a backlog.
Yeah,
Well,
for sure.
let's do. Yeah, that'll work. Because then you get your album, I get my album,
Yeah.
and then we can after that we can do classics.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fuck it, yeah.
Well, I kind of want to line it up with like a month, so it's like Classics May or something. I don't know.
Classics
Doesn't-
Made has the least ringing tone to it. I've
Classics
ever-
Cocktober.
Yeah,
Classics
Classics
Cocktober.
May. Oh yeah, get ready for Classics May.
Shut up.
Okay,
You're
Kat,
such a
what's your
whore.
answer to this question?
77 Billy Joel.
All right.
Stranger era Billy Joel. Probably. Fuck. I don't know.
It's too hard of a question. You gotta give me some lead up to this shit, dude. Fuck.
Master of Puppets era Metallica would be sick.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, of course.
Dude,
fucking-
Yeah, that's okay.
right next
okay.
to Billy Joel.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be
Well,
sick.
and that's the
You
thing.
just gave
if
me
I
one of
had
my
to-
answers.
If I had to like layer them, I don't know. Early system.
It's not worth ranking them, dude. We'll be here all day.
yeah, you don't have to rank them. You don't have to put them in
I'm
any
just-
order.
Okay.
but
Okay.
It's just
I'm
like
just saying from morning to night, how would I want to see these concerts? And probably Billy Joel than Pink Floyd as to the last 2. But
So Floyd, Billy Joel,
yeah.
Metallica.
Yeah. I don't
One
know.
more.
Some probably some just 90s Ween. I would love to see Ween back when they were fucking around a lot.
Interesting.
Yeah.
solid list.
But
right
I don't
there.
know.
Leaf.
Not to copy Jesse because I would have said this shit either way. But Frizzle Fry era Primus, then debut album System, and then self-titled era Mr. Bungle, and then probably top that off with with Science era Incubus.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I've
That's a
never
good
listened to
pick.
that.
Science is it's
Is
just
that
lit.
like early Incubus or
Yeah, it's nothing like the shit like they low key
not like Morning View or
like
anything
low
like
key.
that?
If you look at how their music changed, like you'd say at their 3rd album they sold out because their first 2 albums are just like crazy wacko System Primus slap bass
Really?
crazy new metal shit. But,
Damn.
like it is actually so left field from anything they release later. It's crazy.
I never knew that. Dude.
Yeah, they're fucking so good too. It's a
Damn.
good ass album. Well, there's 2 of them that are like that, but they're both fucking great.
All right, this question is impossible to answer. So, no particular order. I would say Prog Era Genesis. I would have to see them.
Oh
live.
shit.
I would have to see Prog Era Genesis live.
That'd be good.
It would be hard to say what album. Maybe Nursery Crime, I would say, but I don't know. Selling England by the Pound era would be sick as fuck too. But yeah, I couldn't say an era for Genesis because their first like 7 albums are ridiculously fucking good, and then they sold out. It's bullshit. They fucking kicked out Peter Gabriel,
Phil
or maybe he
Collins.
left. I don't know a lot of the lore behind that. Jake honestly probably knows more about the fucking Genesis lore than I do.
Probably.
I'm a poser. But yeah, definitely prog era Genesis for sure. I 3 Cheers era MCR, 100%.
Ooh.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That album is, if I had a CD of that album and I played that CD every single time that I'd listen to that album, that CD would not work anymore. It would probably be disintegrated. I may have listened to that album more than any other album ever.
Really?
Goddamn.
Really?
So definitely 3 Cheers era. Definitely not Black Parade era. I mean, I love the Black Parade, but I think as an album, as I've kind of said earlier on this cast, I like albums that are one color and one kind of vibe. And I think 3 Cheers, even though Welcome to the Black Parade is a concept album, there's a lot of cool conceptual shit going on. I think the songs fit together a little bit better on 3 Cheers, and I love how they fucking flow into each other and shit. That is, as far as like flowy albums that every song goes into the next, that is one of the fucking best ever, dude. And I know that's a hot take, but so definitely 3 Cheers era, Sweet Revenge, or MCR. Maybe Master of Puppets era Metallica. I don't know if I could say that for sure though, because I didn't really grow up listening to Metallica like that. Honestly, I would trade out Metallica for LBC. Dude, I would, if I could be at any fucking concert, it would be LBC. Or,
That's a good one.
for my last pick, Slipknot 2002 Live at the London Arena, dude.
Yeah.
That's a good
So I kind of threw that together just off the top of my head, but that would be probably the best possible lineup. If I could be in at those specific 2 shows, LBC in 2002 London Arena, Slipknot for those 2,
Yeah.
for sure.
LBC stands for licking buttholes cordially.
Cordially. That's a good list. Everybody has a good list.
I might swap out Ween for like mid-70s Rush.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That
That's
would
a
be-
solid-
And like
that's a
I
solid
would
list.
also love to see Tame Impala live too.
That'd be sick.
Fucking Kevin Parker like never plays live really, which sucks so much, dude. I would love to fucking see that's definitely a bucket list band for me.
I didn't even know that, honestly. I didn't know he didn't play that often.
Not really, because I mean he's kind of a one man show.
Yeah.
He records all those albums by himself pretty much. I mean
I assume he'd
Speaker.
probably hire a band or some shit. Has he not done that before?
Well, Inner Speaker, I think he had like a group of dudes that were helping him out, but I think Kevin Parker still played all of the tracks, including the drums on that one. But yeah, like Inner Speaker and Lonerism, he like produced all of them and then had it mixed separately, and then Currents, he took over the entire production process
Did the
himself.
whole damn thing.
Yeah, and like
So cool.
dude, I like thank fucking God I have people to bounce ideas off of, bro. Fuck, I would go insane if I did that.
It's hard. It's so hard to try to just like come up with your
yeah.
own shit and like put it together as a whole package.
I would go insane. I could definitely do it, but like it would take years out of my life.
Yeah.
Like I would never be happy with shit, and that's kind of like whenever he talks about how he produces stuff, it's kind of very similar to my process in a way where like every once in a while a song will like I watched an interview recently where he was talking about the song The Less I Know the Better, which is kind of their number 1 song.
Yeah.
Bum ba-dum, bum 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 dum bum ba-dum. Fucking sick ass bass line. So that song actually was just a demo. Like the final instrument takes of that are all from a fucking real rickety demo the guitar or the bass, I mean, is actually a guitar just pitched an octave down.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's sick.
Because he was
I love
just
seeing
getting
shit like that.
he was getting the idea down, and he just all he had was a guitar take, so he just fucking pitched it down, and he just couldn't get a better vibe than the demo, which is fucking so. I love when fucking people do that shit. It's
I
so
love it
cool,
when a
man.
band's like early work is just recorded on like an 8-track,
Yeah.
and they're
I mean, that's Inner Speaker. That's how he recorded that album. He recorded it on, I think, 2 different 8-tracks, and he's bouncing, a lot of different shit down to one track.
Yeah.
He didn't use a DAW for any of that shit.
That's fucking
And
gnarly.
he recorded the entire album in Beach House in Australia. So basically, Australia gives grants, or at least back then, they would give grants to like musicians that were coming out of college to like get their feet off the ground, basically. And he took that grant and rented out a Beach House for like a month and made Inner Speaker.
It's a studio now, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Because I've
think
seen
it is.
pictures of it, and it's really cool.
It's so sick. There's a whole I think there's a whole like video series of him like playing Inner Speaker with a band all the way through in that fucking Beach House. It's so
Which
fucking
is
cool, bro.
It's insane because you don't necessarily want to start a studio on the water.
Right?
And I don't. Yeah, it just seems
For
like a bad
real.
idea. But fuck it, if it works, it works.
Yeah.
And from what I've heard, it's an awesome sounding studio.
God, dude,
So-
I would love to fucking visit that studio, bro. If we ever find ourselves in Australia, so sick.
That's the reason why Australia has just been pumping out so many good acts like the past 5-10 years.
King Gizzy.
Gizzy, Amel and the Snifters are fucking phenomenal.
No, really.
They're good as fuck.
They're fun,
What kind of music?
Like
Punk.
girly idols, kind of.
like femme punk. Yeah.
If you know
Oh.
if you know who idols are, it's kind of that same vibe.
Cool, man. I'll check them out.
Yeah.
Excellent.
That's a fucking good question, Jerry. That's a
Yeah.
tough question to answer,
Like,
bro.
Yeah.
so speaking of which,
So okay, going forward, give me a heads up for this. That kind of question is so impossible for me to
No.
answer.
That's not fun.
Well, but
right,
then I
here's-
can like give you the reason why. You
Yeah,
know.
but we got to pad the runtime
Yeah.
by figuring it out on the spot.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I
So
guess.
speaking of live bands in history, what if you could go back, and it doesn't have to be like the ultimate performance, but if you could go back and see any band at any one point in their career, who would you go see at any one point?
I would probably it'd be between, like I said earlier, LBC and fucking 2002 Slipknot, bro.
Those are two
Let me-
I would
fantastic
probably say
shows.
2002 Slipknot just because like I would be willing to die in that pit, bro.
Can I tweak the question a little
Yeah,
bit?
what's up?
So it's because it's kind of it's similar to the last one.
Mm.
If you could sit in on any studio session,
Oh my
Oh.
god,
on any
bro,
like
this is
album studio
impossible.
session,
Sit in on any studio.
What the fuck?
and just be a fly on the wall,
Fuck.
what would it be?
That's a good one.
For me, that would be recording the debut album of Primus, because I just want to know, like, how the fuck did you think to do any of that shit?
For
no
real.
one has done anything like that but prior to that
Yeah.
point. Like, what the fuck? And how did the producer even think to go about like approaching that mix?
You
Like,
know
that's
that's
crazy.
actually really funny, because like literally like whenever I listen to Primus, like I mean like like there's a lot of bands that you listen to and you're just like, fuck, I'm gonna lose my mind. But like listening to Primus specifically, and I guess like maybe Korn might have like a similar kind of effect on me, but not as much as Primus. Like whenever I listen to Primus specifically, just like all rational thinking goes out the window. it's just like you just hear the come up and you're just
Yeah.
like,
It's-
oh, like I'm literally gonna break my friend's fucking
Yeah,
jaw
it's
once
time,
this drops.
It's time to
Like-
stim. It's stimming time.
like when shit's hitting the fan at work and I'm like, did the fucking speaker die? Like, what the fuck is going on? I have a screen full of orders and there's no fucking music. What happens? And then all I hear is the fucking and I'm just like, oh shit. Like, fuck. Like this is gonna end badly for everybody in here. Like everybody within a 10-foot radius is
Yeah.
gonna have an uncomfortable time.
Totally.
But man.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
answer, Leaf. Because that's a good point. Like, it's as a producer approaching that kind of band that's like bass forward is like, yeah, making a guitar sit well in that mix has to be fucking really hard,
Yeah,
dude.
dude.
And just like, yeah, I mean, trying to figure out what parts are necessary and like where there's gaps when it's just fucking all bass and like percussion
Yeah.
section.
I wouldn't be surprised if they like listen to a lot of like Earth, Wind, and Fire or something like that to just kind of
They're
like
big
get a
Rush
good,
people.
are they or
Yeah.
Rush? Just
Yeah.
bands where like the bass is the front center.
Totally.
I feel like pre-Primus, Rush was really the only band like that, like at all.
There's a lot of like
I mean, I'm sure
funk.
there was others.
Yeah,
for
like a
sure.
lot of like
Rush
the
was like the biggest.
Earth, Wind, Fire, Graham Central
Yeah.
Station,
Yeah.
like all that
The Isley Brothers.
Yeah,
bro?
the
Yeah.
Isley Brothers. Like
Les
Stevie
Claypool
Wonder.
actually
I was
likes
gonna say
Isley's- yeah.
that's why I brought it up.
Yeah, he brought that up in the Metallica interview. He came in. He's like, "You guys want to jam some Isley Brothers tunes?" Apparently, they just all looked at him like he was a fucking dumbass.
That's so I love that story so much.
Yeah, they basically were like, dude, you're too good for us. Get the fuck out of here, bro.
Yeah, they told him, they were like, look, you're not our speed, but you need to go do something. Because wasn't he like friends with Kirk Hammett? Didn't they
Yeah,
go
he
to high
went
school
to
together?
he went to high school with Kirk Hammett,
No
and they used to
fucking
smoke
way.
pot together. And then Kirk Hammett even tried to have Les Claypool sing in one of his first bands.
What?
Really?
Yeah, and then
That's
fucking
wild.
when Cliff died, Kirk instantly reached out to Les. He was like, "Hey, you should come try out for fucking Metallica."
Damn.
He didn't know shit about Metallica, so he's like, "All right, like I'll give it a
That's-
shot."
That's so wild. Like hearing that. Fucking Kirk Hammett and Les Claypool went to high school together. That's like some Zach Wilde and fucking Dimebag Darrell.
Yeah, dude.
Ass shit. Like fucking like just two absolute crazy legends in the music world. Just growing up together.
There's
And then
something
they
to
go
be
and do their thing.
there's something to be said at certain points in history. There's certain waves that happen, and I think the Metallica, Megadeth, Primus, that kind of like Bay Area scene, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Bay Area.
In the early 80s was like that was definitely one of those musical waves of like all the same people kind of ended up fucking making it, dude.
Well,
British
certain
invasion,
weird-
it makes.
you
Well,
know?
I think it's probably just also probably not entirely because they are incredibly talented people in bands. So it's not like they basically what I'm saying is like people know each other, and I'm sure Kirk Hammett or somebody that Les Claypool knew probably pulled some strings to get them a deal or at least get the record company to listen to them.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm
Like,
just
it's
saying like
people knowing each other.
as far as just creative output,
yeah,
there is certain I don't know. There's
like Seattle in the 90s.
yes, that's another one.
Yeah, British
There's-
invasion, like Jesse said. Yeah.
There's certain waves in history that all things just kind of it's like a node in time almost.
yeah.
And things just, whether or not it was those people, it could have been different people. It could have
Yeah.
happened the same way. There's just certain, there's kind of certain footprints in history that just have a, set way of fucking happening, it seems like. And, I feel like the 90s in Seattle and, the early 80s in the Bay Area, definitely two of those times.
Yeah.
For sure, dude. Very uncanny that all those fucking people came out of those small fucking,
Communities,
geographical
yeah.
communities. Fucking weird, man.
And yeah, it's
You
just
know-
how it goes.
Adam Jones and fucking Tom Morello also were high school buddies.
That's fucking wild.
It's
Yeah,
fucking
and
crazy,
Adam Jones
dude.
also was a fucking special effects artist for a while. I don't know if you guys knew that. He made
Mm.
prosthetics for Predator and fucking
No
Terminator
way!
2 and
Really?
shit.
That's
Yeah.
fucking
Oh, that's
crazy,
dope.
Yeah,
dude.
and like as far as the claymation video goes, I think he even made the claymation video for Sober. I'm pretty sure
Really?
those are his figures and shit.
Damn.
You'll love to see it.
Awesome.
You'll
Yeah,
love
but
to see that.
He's fucking, he's so sick. He even like also paints on the side and shit, and all his art's fucking
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. It's on his on a couple of his signatures. I think his paintings are on the back.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, like there's one that we had a Guitar Center use for a while. That it was basically I think it was one of his paintings of like a chick that has like bees for hair. It was
Oh,
fucking
yeah,
real
yeah.
trippy.
Yeah, he's fucking so sick, bro.
But anyway,
Studio
so
session.
yeah, studio
Studio
session. You said Primus first
Frizzle
album,
Fry, yeah.
of course. Kent.
Sergeant Pepper would be sick.
Fuck.
I was
Fucking
thinking
That's
phenomenal.
such a
I was
good
literally
pick,
gonna probably say that exact
That's
same
such a
thing.
good
I'm gonna
pick,
do something
bro.
different.
Because that is like the entrance point of a lot of those kinds of production styles.
Yeah, that's
You know?
they were
I mean,
coming,
like psychedelic
yeah.
rock, and like you could argue that was like the birth.
That was the
In a
first,
way.
yeah,
You
psych
know.
rock
I
album.
mean,
and-
that's
and-
again,
yeah.
that's another historical wave right there. A lot of bands were doing a lot of the same things right before and after the Beatles were doing that shit. And maybe they knew about what the Beatles were doing, maybe they didn't. You know, it was kind
Well,
of another wave like that.
It seems like it's kind of the other way around, because you have a lot of those bands at that time, the Kinks, the Zombies, kind of doing the same thing, and it's building towards something. It's just
Right.
don't know what yet. And even Paul McCartney has talked about how he got a lot of those ideas by being a fucking party animal, you know, back in the 60s and hanging out all night with a lot of those other people that were doing more
Interesting.
experimental shit and learning that from them and then bringing it into the studio. And that's what Sgt. Pepper, they just needed the biggest band in the world at the time to kick off that
Right.
musical revolution and people to realize, like, oh, we can do anything.
Yeah.
You can get weird. We can write our own songs. We don't have to live in the box of selling singles and albums that are doing the exact same thing and constantly be singing covers. Like, we can do whatever we want. And that's what kicked that off. And yeah, that would have just been sick to see.
Yeah, for
You know,
real, dude.
with-
That's such a good pick, dude.
Yeah.
Sgt.
Or
Pepper's a good one.
Sgt. Pepper or The Wall, just to see the drama. I would,
Yeah.
and I know, I just want to see,
Or Wish You Were Here, even, dude.
with the whole Sid Barrett thing,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
would have been sick.
Yeah.
The Wall, just to see Roger Waters fire Richard Wright and everybody screaming at each other the entire time would have been fun.
I can't believe they made such a great album with all that fucking turmoil going on, dude.
because Roger Waters was a tyrant back in the day.
I mean, I don't know. That sucks.
It worked. It
that
worked.
sucks, but I mean, I don't know.
It-
Sometimes you kind of have to be a tyrant to get the right idea across in a way.
yeah, but
There's good and bad ways to do it. He probably didn't go about it in the most professional manner, maybe.
and especially with The Wall, such like a personal album to him, like
Right.
it makes sense that he wanted it to be his entire vision.
Yeah,
Same with like
100%.
the Final Cut, and the Final Cut's not regarded as a great album by Pink Floyd, but still, it's a singular vision, whereas the other albums were definitely a collaborative vision.
Right. Yeah.
Ween's The Pod would have been really funny to see because
They just fucking go absolutely whacked out the entire time.
they talked about how they huffed 8 cans of Scotch Guard on the liner notes,
I love
which
it.
isn't true. They've said it's not true. The reason the album sounds so muddy and gross as it is because they were sick with mono, and they recorded the entire album over like the 2-3 weeks that they had mono.
Interesting.
And they
do
were
they do
sick.
that on purpose, or is that just happen
I
chance?
think it just happened. I don't know. I'd have to see, but I know that's the reason why the album is so sluggish and muddy is because they were sick with the sleepiest disease on the planet while they were
Interesting.
doing it. But yeah,
I love that. That's so fun.
What's your pick, Jerry?
If I had to pick, man, honestly, kind of a different direction. I would sit in for the Halo 3 soundtrack.
Oh, with
Oh,
old
that's
good old
interesting.
Steve Vai.
That's
yeah,
fun.
that was Halo
That was
2.
two.
But I mean that one. I mean either one would have been really cool. Just because like that sound. I mean both the Halo 2 and Halo 3 soundtrack. Just the whole culmination of the just like the Halo soundtracks in general. Just like means so much to me. And it's just like I would have loved to just hear how fucking what's his name, Marty O'Donnell and Michael Salvatore, the two guys that wrote them, just sat down and wrote them like the whole like Halo hymn that we know and love. Like, yeah, like the day that they were gonna record that, they had I think maybe just like a few days to record the entire soundtrack for Halo 1, and they had no idea what it was gonna be. And
Really?
Marty O'Donnell
Wow.
literally came up with that hymn on the way to record it.
Wow.
Like, he
just
was-
in his head.
Just in the car. He was
What
like,
the
well, fuck,
fuck?
I don't know what I'm going to do. And he was just like, oh. just like
Wow.
in the car on the way, and eventually he landed on what we know is the fucking Halo hymn, and
That's
went to
fucking sick.
fucking the recording studio, and they were like, "All right, I got it."
I fucking love it when shit like that happens,
Yeah.
where it's like,
So
I don't know,
cool.
pull it out of your
Yeah,
ass.
so
and
like-
then-
That was how we
been
fucking
cool.
came up with Electric Sheep, dude. Literally in a fucking band practice.
Yeah.
I came up with the fucking riff randomly, and then you just spat out the fucking vocal melody in 5 seconds, and I was like, "Fuck, let me get my phone, dude.
That's it.
Don't forget that, bro. That's fucking it, dude."
Well, and that's how-
that was one of those songs, bro. Just fucking download.
it just happens. Sometimes we work hard on putting a song together and figuring out what it is, and then sometimes it's like with Cold Fusion Heart.
Yes,
Like
another
we were
one.
waiting, I think, for you maybe
Yeah.
to get to practice, and Jesse and I were just on the floor, and we were just moaning, just nonsense, and that's how we came up with the melody to Cold Fusion Heart. And then we were like, okay, let's use this, and then we. In like an hour, we had a song
And a
together.
band practice, I was just like, bah, 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 bah. This is
Literally,
kinda,
I remember
I was
that.
like, I literally said, this is kind of brain dead, but it might work. I don't know.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Sometimes the energy is just there.
So Leaf, we had when we wrote that da 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 that part, we were waiting for Jeff, and either Kent and I, one of us were tired, and we were like, "I'm gonna take a nap." So we laid on the band room floor, and then we ended up just moaning sounds, and then we came up with that. And then when Jeff got to practice, we had pieced together like the chorus, I guess you would call it. And
Because
then,
I think I don't know who was the one that was like, let's write this right now, but I think I came in and I heard what you guys
Something
were
like that.
doing, and I was like, oh, let's go, dude. This is good.
Yeah.
Let's not waste this right now. Fucking let's fucking jump on this wave.
And then-
And I was like, okay, fucking verse. I just spat that out.
literally,
That's
he,
fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
I love
So
when that
funny.
shit happens.
So
when it's just
fucking
the
cool,
energy
man.
is just there, and you're like, everybody's kind of contributing, and it's like, what should we do next? I don't know, this, and then it's
it's
like, okay,
exactly
that's the
right.
next part. Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, if I had to choose, it would probably be just any of the Halo soundtracks.
yeah.
Probably 1 through 3. Just because I listen to those like just on repeat. Just like when I'm riding my bike or when I'm working out, I'll just throw on just one of the Halo soundtracks.
That would be
Yeah.
very cool from a production standpoint too, just to see how they're doing a lot of the sound design stuff and the more soundtracky things. I think it would be cool to kind of sit in on like the Dune fucking sound effects.
That'd be sick, yeah.
Like something like that, just to see because I watched a random video of how they made the I forget what they're called, the copters where they fucking with the wings.
Oh yeah, in Dune.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
little like
I forget what
dragonfly looking
yeah,
shit.
yeah, I forget what they're called exactly, but it was just like a real specific weird fucking instrument that they made. They literally made it on the spot because they couldn't find the right sound, and it's just this like fucking sound maker thing. And
Really?
it sounds fucking perfect. Dude.
I love
awesome.
like fully shit because
Yeah.
I took a sound design class.
Fuck, I wish I would have. I
last
wish I need to
semester.
go to fucking school for this shit at some point,
It
dude.
was so fun, and I had to come up with like a bunch of sound effects and music for like a video game and shit, and it was fun.
What's
I
so
love
cool-
doing it.
pretty
What's so
sick.
cool about video game music too, compared to just regular music for listening, is that I guess just soundtracks for video games or movies, is that you have to coordinate it with the scene in the movie or
Right.
what
Yeah.
you're feeling in the game. So it's just
It's a whole nother layer.
dun, 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 like that's specifically for the Warthog run, or just storming the breach with a bunch of Marines as Master Chief, and you're just this impenetrable, just invincible super soldier, and you have all your fucking Marines next to you, and you're just kicking ass, just killing aliens. And it's just like you have to write the music to fit the mood
Yeah.
of the game or the movie.
If
and
I
it's
did anything professional with music outside of the band, I would love to score movies.
that
Yeah.
would be so
because that
cool.
shit is so cool. Because you have to sit down with the film, edit it together, and just kind of go through the whole thing and figure out the tone for the entire movie.
Right.
And it's like Jesse and I watched Black Swan the other night. And have you guys seen that movie?
Not. I don't think I've seen bits and pieces of it.
Fucking phenomenal.
Really?
I'd never seen it before. Jesse had seen it, and he walked in like within the first 5 minutes of me starting it, and he was like, "Oh shit, are you watching Black Swan?" I was like, "Yeah," and he's like, "I'm sitting in on this."
Great
Nice.
movie.
And it's such a good movie, but it's because she's playing the main character in a production of Swan Lake, which is scored by Tchaikovsky, and the film score was heavily inspired and used bits of Swan Lake score, but kind of adjusted for the tone of the movie.
Interesting.
And it's so neat. I would love to do that shit.
Yeah, having that, I feel like that is kind of a blessing and a curse, working within those contexts and those limitations within like a soundtrack kind of context. Because I feel like, in a way, it would be like, okay, this gives me an outline, but at the same time, it's like, you know, if something's not coming to you right away within that context, then I feel like it can be very hard to kind of force yourself within that.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
it's probably hard to get creative and like not fall into the tropes.
Right.
Because with so many action movies that I see that do the
Yeah, the 5-4.
yeah, and I hate that shit. It's so
Yeah.
boring. It's so outplayed, and it's like watching it. It's like, well, what
5-4
else-
Mission Impossible shit.
yeah, what else am I supposed to play here? You know,
Yeah.
like what am I supposed to write? And there's a lot of movies that do it phenomenally. Challengers, I do want to see.
Oh, the tennis movie?
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
I want to sit down with you guys and watch that. It was so good, but it was scored by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross.
Really?
Fucking, if that,
Sick.
I called
I
it.
didn't know that,
When
dude. What?
Abby and I walked out of that theater, I was like, best score nomination next year at the Oscars. I'm putting money on it, and if it doesn't get it, I'm going to fucking kill somebody because that score is phenomenal.
That's sick.
It's so good.
Nice. Okay, I still have to answer this question.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck. I probably would inner speaker, like I was kind of talking about earlier. That would that would be a really interesting one to sit in. Either inner speaker, lonerism, any of the first 3 Tame Impala records, just because I've gotten comfortable and confident in the context of metal production, for sure.
Yeah.
I feel like I've kind of built up my palette of colors, so to say, and I kind of, you know, I know how to execute things at this point for my own kind of tastes and my own kind of production style. I tell myself everything I fucking know. I don't know if I'm doing it right, but it sounds good. And the dude that's fucking mixing our shit says it sounds good, so fucking whatever, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it would it would be interesting to sit in on like my favorite band's, you know, album or whatever, but I would kind of use that opportunity more to sit in on something that would be completely outside of the context that I work in kind of metal. And like, I think an indie record with all those synths and all the analog synths that are going on, and you know, all the fucking effects and how they're panned, and how he's putting on any sort of compression, EQ, reverb on anything, and just like analog synths in general, you know, how he's building the waveforms and all that kind of shit. I think that would be so fucking valuable to get from the horse's mouth.
Yeah.
Like that, because I feel like, yeah, obviously there's only so much you can fucking look up on Google, you know?
I think we all kind of gave a similar answer to that, because it's cool to see like a record like Metallica's Black Album. Like, I'm sure that would be cool to see and everything, and
for sure,
because it sounds so good.
But that's in a way, like, I have my own way of producing shit, and Bob Rock has his own way of making a metal record too.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, it'd be cool, but in a way, it's like almost if you're doing it within the same genre that you're producing, it's like it's easy to just kind of steal that shit for your own in a way.
Yeah, and it's cool to see like the raw creativity of of people like just kind of trying to piece shit together.
Yeah. I mean,
know?
or like fucking sketches, you know.
Sketch. I am curious as to like how that came
Like
together.
how the fuck during the mastering process are they fucking like stitching those songs together?
Yeah.
You know? It's super
It's
interesting.
Like, do you have like that whole like outline in your head, or like
Yeah.
I don't know. And more times than not, I'm sure it just kind of comes together, and they're like, oh, let's do this here, and then it ends up flowing.
For
along.
context, Sketches of Brunswick East by King Giz is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Awesome album.
a lot of King Giz albums I would love to sit in on, just because brings me back. I don't know if I had mentioned this last week, but I think I was talking about automation, the stems for automation.
Yeah.
And yeah, dude, it's like so not produced.
Yeah.
And it's like very, I don't know, hearing stems like that. It's cool to hear the stems, but it's almost, I would love to see just like, you know, how fucking loud is he like cranking those monitors with the bleed? Like, I mean, you know, what, like, I don't know. It'd just be cool. Like, stems, you can only get so much from.
I know Giz has put out like a couple like short documentaries, like 20 minutes long, for their different albums.
God, I gotta watch this.
They're worth watching. There's one, like, most of them are on their YouTube channel, and the one for Rat's Nest is really interesting because it was just Joey, Stu, and Cavs that wrote and recorded that album. Like, the rest of them weren't involved.
Interesting.
And it is funny kind of seeing the process and them, you know, hashing out like, how do we want to do this? And Stu just in a dark room with a computer, just fucking being a goblin.
So
shit.
I you probably know more about this than I do. Does Stu produce everything pretty much?
I don't know, because I know some of their albums. I want to say some other albums on the liner notes. It says that it's produced by Stu McKenzie. I think some of the other albums they do have a different producer. So I'm not sure what the dynamic.
I would say at this
is.
point in time, Stu's probably taking the reins on
Probably.
that kind of shit.
I think a lot of them are, because I've seen clips of Joey working on shit too.
Ah.
So they probably pass it off to each other. But
Interesting. Yeah, and like I know a lot. As far as I know, they do a lot of that shit like while they're on tour. Just like fucking setting up monitors in a fucking laptop in a hotel room. It's like, fuck, dude.
I've seen so many of those clips of them.
It's
just
so
in a hotel room.
It's so DIY, and it's like, dude, within like music recording in general, like there's so many like, oh, this is the right way to do it, but also there's no rules at the same time, and it's like, well, where's the line there?
Yeah.
Where is the line? Because like, you know, there's at some point you have to be like, okay, this has to be recorded in a certain way to make sure that it's it will sit in a mix or whatever. And it's like, I would love to see with more DIY kind of bands where they're drawing that line and how exactly they're making those kind of decisions as far as like, fuck it.
Well, I think
when are they saying fuck it?
That goes back to the discussion of talking about just like with modern music today. It's like back in the day, you were committed to a label and you had to do things a certain way. They needed the album to be a certain a certain timeline.
The label had their own producer as well that they fucking leaned on.
And because the way that producing an album works is that they're taking basically out a loan on you,
right?
And a lot of record labels just basically buy a lot of these bands by quote unquote. To make music, and it's a gamble, and they're hoping that one of the albums really, really sells. And if not, it's such a losing game. But with modern production, there is no line.
Yeah, and
there really is and
it's really accessible for the regular person too. I mean, like I said earlier, interface is $200. You know, you can fucking run Reaper like we're doing right now on a fucking laptop, and it's like. You know, you don't have to go into a big name studio now and fucking use all their like outboard gear. Like the fucking $30 plugin will emulate that pretty good. Maybe not compressors. I don't want to get into the fucking specifics.
Yeah, there's definitely certain pieces of hardware
things
that you want.
You know, like compressors, whatever. But
even then, every month, every year, they're getting better and better. And that's my studio production professor. He talked about that for the longest time. He was so against software and plugins. And then eventually it just kind of caught up. And he's like, I love my hardware, but there's a lot of days I don't turn any of the shit on.
It's fair.
It's easier. It's quicker. It's infinitely cheaper.
Right.
But
at the same time, but at the same time, it's like, yes, it's cheap and accessible. But, you know, if everyone has access to it, then like I was kind of saying, like at what point are you kind of breaking the mold of what you're supposed to do in a way? You know, it's hard. And yeah, I would love to kind of see the producers and people that I look up to and just see where they're saying fuck it and just winging it. Because it's like, that's all I do. And I'm like always second guessing myself as far as that shit.
I'm interested in like the dynamic of a lot of the big acts, you know, nowadays with, you know, and I don't even want to get into the Grammys is just a popularity contest.
Totally.
Like I like judging the Oscars every year because I think they do pick some really cool movies, and they've gotten better about it the past 5 years or so. But the Grammys, it's just always been a popularity contest, and it always is going to be. It's not about the quality of the music.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, sure, some albums and some artists are better than others on the docket, but at the end of the day, it's artists that are abiding by the rules of modern production today. But one of the cool things out of all the horrible things that the internet has brought us is the fact that you don't need that backing anymore.
Right.
You don't need a record label.
Exactly
and
what I was going to
promotion,
bring this up. Yeah.
to tell you what's good and what's bad. It's so cool because it doesn't matter where the line is. If it works, if people enjoy it, then it's going to show with Spotify and Apple Music and all those numbers.
Yeah.
And you know,
I think Giz is a really good example of that, you know.
Yeah.
Just fucking putting a microphone in front of shit and just leaning into the quality of the instrument, like I said.
And
earlier,
they've talked about how they were metalheads, but when they released their first album, they Joey Walker was talking about how he wasn't a good enough guitarist to play any of that shit. So they were like, okay, let's make a garage rock album. And I know a lot of the songs off 12 Bar Brews. Maybe it's just one. Maybe I don't know. But I know there's at least a song on that album that is recorded with 4 iPhones around the room.
What? The fuck, dude?
And they just balance that shit.
That's
love
crazy,
that.
Which is
dude.
insane. And it just...
And it's like, fuck, would I even be able to pick which song that is on the album? Would I even be able to hear that?
Yeah. And that's they start low. They start with garage rock where it's not supposed to sound super clean, where it's easy to play, and they just kind of built up from there.
It's fucking so
I
cool,
love that.
man.
That's so
Yeah.
great. That's what's so great about just music in general is there's no rules.
Yeah,
It's just
sure.
like, yeah, there's like theory, there's music theory, but like that's more of a guideline than an actual rule.
Yeah.
you
It's
know?
a blessing and a curse because since there's no rules, it gives you freedom. But with that freedom comes the fucking paralyzation of fucking choice.
How do you navigate it?
'Cause,
yeah.
like-
How do you make a decision that is good,
'Cause-
that you know is good? Because if you have rules, then you know there you are. But you know, with no rules, it's like fuck.
Then you get
know?
Revolution 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then somebody shoots John Lennon.
Yeah.
So
It's like, you know, where is
you could go back in time and assassinate any artist. Who would you?
G.G. Allen.
Jesse Montalvo from
No,
Cosatomicast?
I wanted to see him do it on stage himself.
I want to do it. Fuck him.
Well,
Yeah, he's a piece of shit. He's an absolute piece of shit. But
I don't know. I think that's a good spot to close here.
Yeah.
I think so. Real quick before we leave, Lee, did I tell you about my knee?
Uh-uh.
The day before Thanksgiving.
Oh, at work?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Did I tell you about
I
that?
saw the text. I didn't.
I'm gonna take a piss.
Actually, tell
Okay.
me about it though.
Yeah, so I was prepping the bar at like 10 minutes before open. And I had like this Cambro of lemonade. I was about to go make more, and as I was leaving the bar, my knee blew out and it completely like slipped out of pocket and then
You,
back
like,
in.
Step wrong or just?
I don't
fucking out
know.
of
I
nowhere?
don't know what happened, but it felt like I imagined in my mind like the Mortal Kombat like fatality when it goes to like
The X-ray?
3D, yeah, the X-ray. And I like as it happened, I just imagined the and it fell, and I crumbled to the ground like a rock, and I was just laying in a pool of lemonade for like 2 minutes, just screaming "fuck," and. Nobody came to check on me, by the way. They probably assumed I was just making noise up at the bar because I usually do that. But that day sucked.
Did you get sent home?
No, I powered through. I did. I asked my manager to call in the 3 o'clock bartender early, so I ended up leaving at about 2. But yeah, I worked from 11 to 2, and that shit sucked balls.
That's fucking terrible.
And I went up to my manager, and it sucked. I went up to my manager crying, and I'm not crying because of the pain. Like, the pain is like fine. I just cry when I get super frustrated, and I'm just like annoyed with the situation. So I'm just up there crying to my manager, and I'm just like, "Can you call in 3 o'clock early?"
Like, yeah.
That's why I can't get heated during arguments, because I'll just start crying and none of my words will make sense. Yeah.
That's kind of a plus in itself.
Yeah. No. Well, plus it helps when people see a grown man cry and they'll just give you whatever you want.
They're like, I'm uncomfortable. Please get me out of this situation.
I did that to a table one time where it was like my first year of serving or something, and it was a busy Friday night, and this guy said he wanted his wine with his steak. He wanted them to come out at the same time, which fuck you if you do that, because that's not how the shit works. The food's coming from the kitchen, the wine's coming from the bar. It's not going to line up. Like, fuck you. But I brought it out late, and he was like halfway done with his steak, and he told me that I ruined his and his wife's anniversary. And he was yelling at me, and I could have held it in, but I didn't. And I just started crying at the table.
Just on purpose.
I just started crying at the table. I was like, I'm so sorry. And I left, and then I came back, and I was like, how was everything? And she did not look him in the eye for the rest of the night. She didn't say a word to him. They tipped me like 40%.
Oh my.
Like, buddy, you ruined your own fucking anniversary,
yeah,
you
that's
dickhead.
what you fucking get. You made a man cry.
That guy was not getting laid that
He
night.
was
Yeah.
no way. It was a bad ride home.
Yeah.
And you know what? He
Oh my
deserved it.
God.
So
Deserved
fuck
it.
you.
Yeah. If you yell at wait staff, you're a dick.
Yeah.
Fuck you, man.
For
I'm
real.
just trying
Yeah.
to I'm just trying. I'm trying, okay?
Yeah.
We're human. Never Anyways, next week, Twerp, Digital Nightmare. Any of you have anything to add?
No. I
time
think
to
that was
close
a
it out.
nice podcast. Flowed very
Solid.
well.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
We're,
Cosatomicast.
we're resurrecting Jake for next week, bringing him out of cryostasis. And
Hopefully we can joke him enough to where we can get his dick to work.
Yeah.
it's a
Maybe we
shame.
can joke his dick enough to where
It's,
it
it's,
make it
all
long.
it's all
Cosatomicast.
mangled. It
Yeah.
looks like the kind of the fat you cut off a New York strip. They really botched that surgery.
Just really congealed.
All right. You have a good night, folks.
Bye.